This is The Rebel by Albert Camus, chapter State, Terrorism, and Irrational Terror. All modern revolutions have ended in a reinforcement of the power of the state. 1789 brings Napoleon, 1848 Napoleon III, 1917 Stalin. The Italian disturbances of the 20s, Mussolini, the Weimar Republic, Hitler. These revolutions, particularly after the First World War, had liquidated the vestiges of divine right, still proposed with increasing audacity to build the city of humanity and of authentic freedom. The growing omnipotence of the state sanctioned this ambition on each occasion. It would be erroneous to say that this was bound to happen, but it is possible to examine how it did happen, and perhaps the lesson will follow. Apart from a few explanations that are not the subject of this essay, the strange and terrifying growth of the modern state can be considered as the logical conclusion of inordinate technical and philosophical ambitions foreign to the true spirit of rebellion, but which nevertheless gave birth to the revolutionary spirit of our time. The prophetic dream of Marx and the over-inspired predictions of Hegel or of Nietzsche ended by conjuring up, after the city of God had been razed to the ground, a rational or irrational state, which in both cases, however, was founded on terror. In actual fact, the fascist revolutions of the 20th century do not merit the title of revolution. They lack the ambition of universality. Mussolini and Hitler, of course, tried to build an empire, and the National Socialist ideologists were bent explicitly on world domination. But the difference between them and the classic revolutionary movement is that of the nihilistic inheritance, they chose to deify the irrational and the irrational alone instead of deifying reason. In this way, they renounced their claim to universality, and yet Mussolini makes use of Hegel and Hitler of Nietzsche, and both illustrate historically some of the prophecies of German ideology. In this respect, they belong to the history of rebellion and of nihilism. They were the first to construct a state on the concept that everything is meaningless and that history is only written in terms of the hazards of force. The consequences were not long in appearing. As early as 1914, Mussolini proclaimed the holy religion of anarchy and declared himself the enemy of every form of Christianity. As for Hitler, his professed religion unhesitatingly juxtaposed God, providence, and Valhalla. Actually, his God was a political argument and a manner of reaching an impressive climax at the end of his speeches. As long as he was successful, he chose to believe that he was inspired. In the hour of defeat, he considered himself betrayed by his people. Between the two, nothing intervened to announce that the world that he would ever have been capable of thinking himself guilty in relation to any principle. The only man of superior culture who gave Nazism an appearance of being a philosophy earned